much as I am in favor of this resolution, which I pointed to, it doesn't go near the question of doctrine. They're not there yet. So I think this is why there is renewed interest today in a nuclear weapons convention, which would be a global treaty banning the production as well as the deployment of nuclear weapons. A model nuclear weapons convention has for some years been circulating as a UN document. It was introduced by Costa Rica and Malaysia about a decade ago into the UN system. This model nuclear weapons convention would prohibit development, testing, production, stockpiling, transfer, use, and threat of use of nuclear weapons. States possessing nuclear weapons would be required to destroy their arsenals according to a series of phases, certain phases. The model contains detailed provisions for national implementation and verification, establishes an international agency responsible for enforcement and dispute settlement, and it would indicate procedures for reporting and addressing violations. Governments, of course, are the principal actors here, but civil society would play an important role. The experience of many international and intergovernmental bodies will be useful, and of course the scientific, medical, legal, policy, and other expertise of NGOs such as IPPNW and the Physicians for Global Survival represent. All of this would make them key partners in the process that we hope will now start. Every year since 1997, the General Assembly in the UN has adopted a resolution calling upon all states immediately to commence multilateral negotiations leading to an early conclusion of the Nuclear Weapons Convention. So it's been around. And last year, in 2008, the number of co-sponsors for this resolution doubled from 28 to 56. And the General Assembly adopted the resolution by 127 for, 30 opposed, with 23 abstentions. Canada abstained. So far, China has been the only major nuclear power to vote for it. But international polls show that people around the world overwhelmingly support the proposition that all countries should sign a treaty that prohibits all nuclear weapons. On the face of it, public opinion is there. But that public opinion is passive, if not skeptical, in expressing the view. And thus, politicians never hear about it. A few months ago, however, Ban Ki-moon, the incumbent Secretary General, put a global spotlight on the need to achieve a nuclear weapons convention. He listed a 5-point program in a very major speech he gave last October, which was referred to in the meeting this week. So have several other disarmament organizations put a spotlight on a nuclear weapons convention. Notably, Mayors for Peace, a big organization, which now includes the mayors of nearly 3,000 cities, many of them in Canada, including the city of Montreal, which includes the mayors of nearly 3,000 cities in 134 countries. And of course, IPPNW, with its international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. And now the Global Zero movement, embracing civil leaders of many countries, has started. So there's a momentum building up for the achievement of a nuclear weapons convention. So, right at this moment, Barack Obama arrives on the scene, bringing to the White House his long-held vision of a nuclear-free world. And indeed, the resolution, in its very opening words, says, resolving to seek a safer world for all and to create the conditions for a world without nuclear weapons. That's language taken from Obama. In his Prague speech a few months ago, President Obama stated, and I quote, his commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons. As the only nuclear power to have used a nuclear weapon, the United States has a moral responsibility to act. We cannot succeed in this endeavor alone, but we can lead it. So his unprecedented act in convening the Security Council and his stated intention, he announced it again, to host a global summit on nuclear dangers next April, is a further manifestation of the movement forward. Obama has relaunched nuclear negotiations with Russia. He stated that he will actively and aggressively pursue the U.S. ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and he started work on a fissile material ban. In Obama, we see for the first time the abolition of nuclear weapons moving from aspiration to the strategic center of U.S. foreign policy. From being the biggest obstacle to nuclear disarmament, the United States under Obama is poised to become a vigorous proponent. I worked for many years, including my term as Ambassador for Disarmament. The biggest problem I had in all that time was the antipathy of the government of the United States to nuclear disarmament. Now it's a U-turn by the President. So it's possible that the biggest proponent of nuclear disarmament will be the United States. However, a landmine is waiting to trip up Obama. The nuclear defenders, led by the military-industrial complex that we've heard a lot about, and their congressional spokespersons, whom they have financed, and it's like an entangling alliance between these two sets of. They are not subscribing to the aspirations of their president. They are determined that the United States maintain what they call, and I quote, a safe, secure, effective, and reliable nuclear deterrent, unquote. Former U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Schlesinger is trying to frame the all-important U.S. nuclear posture review, now being brought up to date. It's done every time a new administration comes in. They're trying to frame the nuclear posture review around the concept of what is called extended deterrence. This means defending your allies. The U.S., it is argued, needs an effective, if smaller, nuclear arsenal to counter a nuclear threat anywhere. This means that the United States would keep its nuclear weapons to protect not only itself, but its allies who do not possess nuclear weapons, like us here in Canada. We need an umbrella over us, do we? In other words, so the argument goes, the U.S. would be weakening itself and also letting down its friends if it gave up its nuclear weapons. So if Schlesinger and company can get extended deterrence written into the new nuclear posture review scheduled for publication in this coming December, this will stop Obama cold in his quest for a nuclear weapons-free world, because they'll go for reductions but not elimination. Already the nuclear defenders have signaled that they will not oppose U.S. ratification of the CTBT. You know, that's the next big thing coming, and Obama's got to have a political victory to move ahead. He's got to have something in his hand. What he get in his hand is U.S. ratification. You know, it was tried in 1999 under Clinton. It got caught up in a whole lot of other things, and the Senate of the United States voted it down. It requires 2/3 of the Senate. There's 67 votes. So Bush, of course, turned his back on it when he came into office and rejected